The desert evening settled slowly over Eli Warren's ranch, painting the sky in streaks of purple and copper as he finished securing the barn for the night. The land around him was usually predictable, with the same winds, the same distant coyote calls, and the same quiet rhythm. But that day, something was different. He had noticed light footprints near the water trough, 2 sets, careful and quick, the kind made by someone trying not to be noticed. They were too small to be from ranch hands or drifters. Whoever left them had passed close enough to watch. Him yet avoided making their presence known. Eli felt a familiar prickle of unease on the back of his neck. Inside his cabin, he lit only a dim lantern, making the room appear shadowed. He lay on his cot and forced himself to lie still, pretending to fall asleep. The minutes dragged on. Then the faintest sound reached him, a soft scrape, the hush of a door easing open. Eli kept his breathing steady and let his eyelashes rest low, peering through the smallest gap. 2 figures slipped inside with the kind of silent coordination only siblings shared. Their clothing and braids revealed who they were even before his memory did. Apache sisters, young but alert, moving with caution sharpened by experience. Rumor in the nearby town had mentioned 2 girls traveling alone after being separated from their band. Seeing them here in his home made the rumor more real than he expected. The older sister scanned the cabin with sharp eyes, while the younger remained near the door, her hands tense, ready to flee if needed. They whispered in their own language, quick, worried, almost desperate. Eli caught only fragments, but enough pieces fell together to steer his fear toward something more complicated than simple theft. They weren't there for food or valuables. They were searching for something hidden, something they believed connected to this land. The younger sister shot a nervous glance at Eli, suggesting that letting a stranger live while they searched wasn't part of their plan. The older one replied in broken English, just loud enough for him to hear, "We find the map before the men following us do." Eli's heart tightened. Raiders, scouts, whoever the men were, the sisters feared them. And if they were hunting the map, and the map had something to do with his land, then danger was already closer than he wanted to admit. He didn't move. He didn't breathe too deeply. He simply listened as the truth quietly rearranged the night around him. Morning arrived slowly, with the sun barely touching the tops of the distant mesas when Eli opened his eyes and pretended to stretch as though he had slept through the night. The 2 sisters immediately tensed, their hands moving towards small pouches at their belts. But Eli kept his voice calm and steady as he greeted them. He made no sudden movements, only offered them water from the jug and a strip of dried beef from his supplies. Hunger softened their suspicion. After a few cautious bites, the older sister finally spoke her name, Taya. The younger introduced herself more quietly as Naya, her eyes never fully leaving the door. Piece by piece their story came out. Their father had been a scout for their band, guiding families through dangerous territory. Before he disappeared, he had hidden a map that showed a safer route across the land, one that avoided the paths used by violent raiders known for attacking travelers. The sisters believed the map was somewhere near Eli's ranch, left in a place only their father would recognize. They had been following signs carved in stones and trees, symbols meant only for them. But someone else had discovered their trail. The raiders were closing in, searching for the same map for reasons the sisters didn't fully understand. Eli absorbed their words with a growing sense of responsibility. The land around his ranch was rough, filled with hidden ravines, unpredictable rivers, and rock formations that could easily swallow secrets for years. If a map was hidden out there, it made sense the clues would be invisible to most. He agreed to guide them, and together they set out across the rugged terrain. The morning sun warmed the sand, and the sound of crunching gravel followed them as they climbed toward the ridge. Taya moved confidently, scanning the landscape, while Naya stuck close to Eli, her caution unwavering. They finally reached a flat stretch of rock where Taya dropped to her knees. A symbol carved into the stone, a circle with a slanted line, matched what she remembered from her father. She brushed away dust and beneath a loose stone they found a leather-wrapped pouch. Inside was the map, carefully drawn by hand. A distant rumble interrupted their relief, hoofbeats, fast. Eli guided them behind a boulder as 3 riders thundered across the plain. Their eyes swept the ridge as though they already suspected the truth. Naya clutched the pouch to her chest. Taya's jaw tightened. "They know," she whispered, her voice barely steady. "They're coming for us." Night settled over the canyon ridge with a heavy stillness, the kind that made every sound feel louder than it should. The fire Eli built was small, just enough to keep them warm without drawing attention. Shadows from the flames flickered across the rocky ground as Taya and Naya sat close together, speaking softly in Apache. Eli pretended to rest on his bedroll nearby, though his mind was far from sleep. After the run-in with the riders earlier, the air around them carried a tense, unspoken urgency. He needed to understand what the sisters intended to do, especially if he was going to keep them safe on his land. The wind carried pieces of their conversation to him, short words, sharp breaths, the sound of fear barely contained. He heard Taya's steady voice trying to reassure her younger sister. Naya's replies were quieter, edged with worry. Eli picked up fragments. Decoy, ridge crossing, before sunrise. These weren't the plans of 2 travelers hoping to outrun danger. They were the plans of people preparing for a last stand, if it came to that. Then a sentence made Eli's breath catch. Taya said, her voice low and firm, "If those men reach us, we must destroy the map. Even if he tries to stop us." The meaning hit him immediately. They were willing to act against him if they believed it necessary. Not because they wanted to hurt him, but because protecting their people mattered more than anything else. The map wasn't just a guide, it was hope for families who couldn't fight back. Eli could no longer lie still. He pushed himself upright, and the sisters froze as they realized he had been listening. For a moment, all 3 stared at one another in the glow of the fire, the tension tight enough to snap. Naya's hand slipped toward the pouch at her side, and Taya's eyes sharpened as though preparing for the worst. Eli raised his hands slowly, not in surrender but in reassurance. "I heard what you said," he admitted, "and you're right to protect that map. But I'm with you, not against you." The sisters exchanged a glance, confusion and caution blending in their expressions. Taya finally spoke, her voice guarded. "Why help us? This is not your battle." "Maybe not," Eli said, "but it's happening on my land. And if that map keeps families safe, then helping you is the right thing to do." Silence followed, but it was different now, not tense, but thoughtful. Taya nodded at last. "Then at sunrise we moved together." The fire crackled softly as they prepared for what awaited them, knowing the coming day would test them all.